In this video, I'm going to reveal how we built a $16 million company using a simple VSL funnel. Now, contrary to popular belief, VSL funnels are still very much active and producing results. I know this because we've replicated the VSL funnel system and our backend lead to close systems for over 2,600 clients. In this video, I'm going to break down an exact case study of the funnel that we run, our backend systems, the processes that we run, break down a little bit of our offer, and you'll see the information within our funnel so you can get contextual understanding of how we're positioning and framing ourselves in this VSL funnel to maximize our conversion rates. First place I want to start is, why should you listen to me? Ultimately, I'm going to break down our KPIs and we're going to take a look at exactly what type of performance we're getting through this funnel. Over the last 4 years, we've generated 121,384 leads. Sounds pretty good, right? Appointments, on the other hand, 52,176 appointments with a 42.98% conversion rate. That means almost 43% of the people that opt into our funnel end up converting into a booked appointment. A large portion of those appointments or those people that come into our funnel, we actually disqualify through our application. So if we let those people go on through, our actual booking rate would be even higher. From there, the marketing spend that we've invested into this funnel has been $3,384,786.87. Sales that we've made from this funnel have been $16,630,575.30. Sorry, I'm trying to give you guys exact information. The return that we have gotten from this, for every $1 spent, we made $4.91 back, equaling a total net ROI of 391.33%. Okay. As you can see here, this funnel has been extremely profitable for our company, and it is a great resource if you run a high ticket business. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the primary benefits of a VSL funnel. A VSL funnel is ultimately going to be leveraged for high ticket businesses. If you run anything that sells something low ticket like insurance, or maybe it's windows, stuff like that, if you're not in the multi-$1,000 range with strong profit margins, a VSL funnel is not going to be a good fit for you. This is predominantly because anytime you have restrictions on your profit margins, say less than 20%, the marketing spend and budgets that you can use are going to be very low. So in the context of this, you do not want to run a VSL funnel if you have less than 20% profit margins in the service that you're selling. You first want to address that before you switch to something like this. So let's go ahead and break down the primary benefits of a VSL funnel. First and foremost, you can engage with an audience and explain exactly what you do and increase the conversion rate on the back end. As I've shown here, we've had a 43% conversion rate from lead to booked appointment. Now, what you're doing in the context of this is, as you take traffic from ad to booked appointment, is you are taking them from problem awareness to product awareness so they can make an educated decision on if it's worth their time to book an appointment and meet with you. One of the other big aspects of the VSL funnel that you can leverage is lead quality. One of the biggest problems in marketing today is you'll get a lot of people opting in that are just tire kickers, window shoppers, and not really a good fit for high ticket services. So utilizing a VSL funnel, one, you can leverage copywriting as a way to weed out people to help self-qualify themselves. And additionally, you can incorporate applications and what have you to make sure that you are weeding out those people so they never get the opportunity to book an appointment with your team. Which leads me into point number 3. This maximizes your sales calendar without wasting time and countless hours meeting with prospects who are not a good fit for what it is that you're selling. Far too often, we see people marketing things to try to get the cheapest cost. However, they're wasting 3, 4, 5 hours a day meeting with prospects who are never going to buy from them. I don't know about you, but I value my time and I don't want to be wasting it with prospects who are never going to purchase. A VSL funnel gives you a clear path to make sure that you're not doing that. Another value benefit is that it scales effectively for high ticket offers. When you are running anything that sells $3,000 plus, you can typically increase your budgets quite substantially and maintain consistent performance throughout the funnel. Now, if you are running lead magnet funnels, things like that, the value proposition will ultimately deteriorate as you start increasing your traffic. With a VSL funnel, you can test and optimize your hooks pretty easily and make sure you're maintaining the maximum opt-in rate throughout the funnel, whereas other funnels, you don't have the leverage to be able to do that. The last thing is you can harness the power of automation to take a prospect from click to close and shorten the gap in the time to close variable. Now, what I mean by that is with traditional organic marketing, people are going to predominantly go through a process and it's going to likely take 45 days before they turn into a sale or longer. Using a VSL funnel and a content engine to support it, you can actually manufacture the sales flow and decrease that time to close from the time they opt in to the time they're giving you their money from 7 to 21 days. That all depends on the type of offer you're running. Now, what do I mean when I say Depends on what type of offer. Aren't we going into your funnel at Conversionly? Yes. But we've also replicated this exact same system for over 2,600 of our clients that have scaled to 7-8 figures. And utilizing this framework, 7 to 21 days is a typical time to close when it comes to converting a lead into cash collected utilizing the VSL funnel strategy. Now, if you're watching this video, I presume you understand what a video sales letter is. For those of you that don't, a video sales letter is a way to communicate the majority of the information regarding your solution and your product to take a prospect from problem awareness to product awareness in the shortest amount of time as possible. Now, depending on the market awareness and sophistication of your market, a video sales letter can range from 5 minutes to 60 minutes or longer. If you've ever looked at any of the Ty Lopez videos or Sam Ovens videos, a lot of them used video sales letters. Back then, the length of those videos were in the 45+ minute range. And that's because market sophistication was pretty low. So you got to use the opportunity to increase that sophistication and educate the audience before they were ready to buy from you. If your market is more sophisticated, then a video sales letter should typically be between 5 and 10 minutes long if you are going to maximize your conversion rate. Now, with over 2,600 offers run, we've tested the length of video sales letters. What we have found is in 99% of the situations that we are marketing for our clients, most of the market sophistication level is going to be between a stage 3 or stage 4 market sophistication level. Therefore, you do not need to hit on the educational components because the market is already sophisticated enough to understand the basic meaning behind what it is that you're doing. In that essence, you're predominantly going to be communicating the mechanism. And then when you're doing that, you're going to try to keep your video sales letter between 5 and 10 minutes. Any longer than that, you're going to dramatically impact the conversion rate from lead to application or lead to booked appointment. So before we jump into the actual case study of our funnel, I want to give you a general breakdown of what to expect with a VSL funnel. First, you have an opt-in page. That opt-in page is ultimately meant to collect name, email, and phone number, and any additional information that you want to collect, but predominantly the name, email, and phone number. This gives you the ability to then market nurture sequences, you can run dialers, etc., to maximize that lead to appointment conversion rate. I see far too often many people will run a VSL funnel and not have a back-end process to take leads to appointments, and they are ruining their cost per acquisition because they're spending significantly more, a lot of times 40% more to acquire a sale than they would if they ran a back-end process. From there, you send traffic to your VSL page. Now, I've seen a lot of people ask, hey, why not just send traffic directly to the VSL page? You can. If your market is not ultimately converting well with an opt-in page, you can bypass that and send them directly to a video sales page. This will cut out your lead opportunity, as I previously discussed on the opt-in page. Therefore, we never recommend running direct to VSL unless you're capturing the lead information from a secondary source before they even get to the page, such as an IGDM funnel where they're sending you a DM, and through the DMs, you're actually sending them the link to the VSL page. In that essence, you've already established a communication, and you can use that to then convert the lead if they don't convert themselves by self-booked appointments. Now, from there, you're going to run your audience to an application page. The call to action within your VSL should drive them to some mechanism to get them to apply to work with you. Now, as you're starting out, we'll get into strategy a little bit later, but that application and how that's incorporated can mean many different things. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're leveraging friction to increase the time that it takes them to get to the sales calendar. This is going to reduce people who are not serious or genuine about meeting with you. From there, you send them to your calendar, and that gives them the ability to book a time slot and ultimately get on your sales team's calendar. Now, with that, you're going to have many back-end processes that are going to maximize the conversion rate of this funnel. When you go opt-in to VSL, if they haven't proceeded with an application or booking an appointment, then we're going to follow up with them via SMS, email, and dialers. And then if they fill out an application but haven't booked an appointment, then we have a dialer and a manual setter follow-up that then follows up with that prospect to get them converted into a booked appointment. Then those that go on to book an appointment, we have an appointment confirmation process and our no-show process to maximize the show-up rates. Statistically speaking, most VSL funnels perform about a 40 to 50% show rate. At Conversionly and for our clients, statistically, we're able to achieve 70% plus show rates for our funnel consistently by running our back-end show rate systems. Now with this, you're going to then send traffic to a thank you page video, and I'm going to give you a unique strategy that we leverage on our thank you pages to make sure you maximize show rates, maximize quality, and shorten that time to close substantially so a prospect is ready to buy by the time they show up to the call. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump in to our funnel. As you can see here, I've got an overview of the exact funnel that I just drew out for you guys. Let's go ahead and start with the opt-in page. As you can see here on our opt-in page, it's short, sweet, and straight to the point. We're getting to the primary focus of what our audience opted in for on our ads. Now, if you are running an biz op opportunity, a less sophisticated market, then you could use creative hooks here that are discover the process or learn the secret. That can help increase your opt-in rates and maximize your performance. However, recognize that you're speaking to a less sophisticated, less educated audience that is going to fall in one of those hopeless or worthless gaps that are going to decrease the quality of the client and also decrease their ability to spend with you. So make sure that your funnel acts accordingly when you're speaking to that audience. We also call out the exact people that we're looking for. This is one of our quality metrics or quality implementations that we use to reduce the people that are coming into this funnel and making sure that we're only meeting with prospects that we actually want to meet with. It doesn't mean that people aren't going to continue to go buy that. A lot of times we'll get people that just ignore the high ticket part and sell a product for $30 and still book an appointment or try to. We disqualify them through our application. Lastly, we have our call to action. In your call to action, you're ultimately telling them exactly what they're going to get on the next page. When they click on that button, we want to capture name, email, and phone. One thing you may note with our phone, we do not require phone numbers for people to opt into our funnel. We tested this and we ultimately found when this was not a required field, we increased our opt-in rates by 4%. However, the number of people who give their phone numbers is 98.3% of the time they give the phone number. I'll take an increase of 4% in an opt-in rate with less than a 2% decrease in the number of phones we collect. So from there, we then have a back-end process, okay? Like I said, this is the number one piece that I see people get wrong when they're running a VSL funnel. They are not capturing lead information and missing out on at least 30% appointment volume that they can increase and decrease their cost per appointment, decrease their cost per acquisition, and ultimately increase their opportunities. As you can see here, this is one of the automations that we are leveraging to nurture a prospect after they opt in. We send an SMS. This is ultimately a compliance message that meets the FCC requirement, but we send this in a way that's going to make sure the prospect isn't turned off by it and automatically unsubscribe. We immediately follow up and then ask them a thought-provoking question. When you are opting into something or having a conversation with a prospect, most people try to go directly for the appointment. They want them to take the next action in the funnel, and we do too. However, one thing that most people miss is as you're going through a VSL funnel or any funnel for that matter, you are selling the next step of that funnel. You're not selling the thing that you want. You're selling the thing that you need to sell them on to get them on the appointment. So our objective here is to follow our engage, qualify, and convert process to maximize the number of people we are converting. Rather than saying, hey, I saw you opted in for this, well, let's go ahead and set up a call. If they were going to book a call, they would have booked a call through the funnel. So from this, we need to open up a line of communication with the prospect first. That is the first thing that you're selling. Give me a reason to respond to you. So in this essence, our offer is all about client acquisition. So one of the big ways that we open up that line of communication is we ask a question that is easy for them to answer. Hey, saw you were interested in booking more sales appointments. If you don't mind me asking, how many appointments do you have in your calendar this week? Very simple question to answer and open up that communication. From there, we are then going to take them to a qualification event in which we are qualifying them for our calendar. If people do not meet our minimum specifications using our lead qualification matrix, then we're not going to get them booked on the calendar. Those that do meet our qualification matrix, we will book an appointment with them with our sales team. Also working in tandem with this, and it's why we outperform every single AI backend nurture system that exists in the market, is because you cannot take the human element out of follow-up. There's a reason why every time somebody tries to implement AI to do their follow-up, their performance decreases. Now, there are voice AI setters that are coming into the mix. We've tested them. The performance isn't bad, and if you can't afford to hire a setter, it is a good alternative. However, AI technology is not yet, at the time of this recording, up to a point to where people can't tell it's AI. There's gaps, there's tonality shifts, things that do not fluctuate the way that a normal conversation is going to respond. I do suspect AI will catch up and that will function, and we already have systems built to implement that. However, I still recommend having a setter. A setter gives you the ability to ask complex, convoluted questions to a prospect and establish rapport with them to increase the likelihood that they show up, to increase the quality of the prospect, and to maximize ultimately your cash collected on the back end. We do this by running a dialer process. As you can see here, this is our dialer number 4. This is because we have 3 other dialers that come before our new lead follow-up that are a higher priority for our setters to actually follow up with. But on dialer number 4, our setters will come in here, they'll click let's start, and it'll start calling people by first in, first out type format. The first person to get added to this list is the first person that gets off the list. From there, when we get a lead, we will then send them to our VSL page. And as you can see here, the VSL page is quite long. I'm going to break this down for you piece by piece to help you understand the structure of a VSL page that will maximize your conversion rates. The first place that we want to start is telling them exactly what this page is about. This is how you take an audience from that problem awareness section on where they clicked on an ad and then they opted in. They were problem aware. Now you are trying to get them to product awareness. To do that, you need to make them solution aware. Now, many people that click on your ad are going to be solution aware. They're already going to know that I can run paid ads for prospecting. I can do outbound cold email. I can do all those things in the essence of the funnel that we're talking about. However, ultimately, you need to take them to product awareness and convince them why is your product better than everything else. If your market is predominantly or sophisticated enough to be more solution aware, then your VSL video, as noted earlier, should only be about 5 to 10 minutes explaining your mechanism and process and why it is more superior than the competition. Another thing that is within our funnel, sorry that it's blurry here, we also leverage our case studies, which is linked here, and then frequently asked questions. We want to make it as easy as possible for the prospect to actually find the information they need to make the decision to move forward and book a time. Then we have our call to action, and we have supporting data to support the claims that we make in our video, in our hook, and our subhook. Okay, this is going to maximize your conversion rates. Data that is irrefutable is going to increase the likelihood that a prospect is going to convert with you. Now, if you're just starting your business and you don't have data, I highly recommend you get a handful of clients for some type of trial, etc., to build that data repository to support any claims that you're going to make when you start running ads to cold traffic. Next on our funnel, we start using benefits to show them the benefits of working with us. This is also covered in the video. We also break down why they should work with us and why we are authorities in this space. Every section is split by a call to action, and you can see we're testing different call to actions throughout the funnel. Next, we have a big call to action after we get from the benefits and before we transition into the case studies. This is trying to get them to a point of, if this is enough information, we're going to close the gap right here and get you to do what we want you to do, which is go to book a time. Then, if it's not enough, we support everything we say with our case studies. And when you have case studies that are irrefutable, it makes it super easy for you to take a prospect from problem awareness to product awareness and actually start moving the lever to most aware. As you can see here, we have several case studies that break down performance, and we continue on with those. We share even more as testimonial videos, but we don't want our whole page as nothing but case studies. That would get to be a never-ending scroll. We break up the section with another call to action. And again, this is a bigger call to action to try to close that gap to get them to go on to book a time. Then we have testimonials, frequently asked questions, our story. So breaking down why you should work with us, this essentially tells the story of why we started Conversionly in the first place. And the short and sweet aspect of that is Conversionly started because we were tired of all the gurus and all the different processes out there selling you on something that never actually worked. They're selling you on a coaching program and you have to work 27 hours a day and 300 hours a week to try to actually replicate the results. And 9 times out of 10, it never works. They put you in a group setting where there's 300 other people and you never actually get your questions answered. They give you basic templates with no guidance on how to set them up. And it just didn't work for us. So we ultimately built this out through trial and error, many millions of dollars invested into our growth and different types of coaches to help us optimize specific pieces. The hardest part of client acquisition, it is a multifaceted approach to get the performance you need to maximize your ROI. So we started working with experts in every single individual area, from recruitment to closing to funnel design to copywriting and everything in between. That's essentially encapsulated here. Lastly, we have another call to action to get them to go on to book an appointment. Now, what we're doing in this essence is, even though our call to actions are saying book a time, they're not actually going to our calendar. They're going to our application. Now, our application, because we work with many different industries, we're asking that right up front. This helps us with our KPI tracking, setting benchmarks, and also understanding what type of audiences is our marketing, the audiences we're targeting on paid traffic sources, actually bringing in through the funnel. This will help us when it comes to optimizing our ad campaigns and also making sure that we can see, hey, we have an influx of home services and our cost per appointment with them is actually pretty cheap. Let's try to make an offer that is explicitly for home services. That way we can maximize our close rates on the back end. This gives you the ability to capture a lot of information about your audience that you can further use to refine your messaging, your advertising, your videos, the creative that you share, your funnel, etc. Also, you want to make sure that you're covering BANT. Now, those of you that don't know, BANT is the predominant sales qualification protocol. This stands for budget, ability to make the decision, have a need, and within the timeline to move forward. In our application, we are asking these questions. When we typically launch a VSL funnel for a client, we limit it to these questions alone. As you start to scale that up, your calendar starts to become more full and you need to remove even more people from your calendar. Then you can start increasing the volume of questions that you're asking to reduce that volume and add more friction. For those that are not qualified and they do not pass our qualification criteria, then we are going to leverage a thank you page, because one of the biggest aspects of unqualified prospects doesn't mean that they're not going to be qualified in the future. We, on average, every single month, close 3 to 5 people that opted in sometime within the last 2 years. That's because they're staying connected to our content. We give them free trainings on things that they can learn and try to help themselves get to the minimum qualifications needed to work with us. Additionally, we want to tie them back to the testimonials, learn more about us, and then give them an even more advanced training than the VSL that we actually went through. Those that are qualified now get to where we want them to be, and that is to our calendar. The calendar is ultimately meant to be optimized as a round robin approach. So if you have 3 sales reps, your calendar should be optimized to round robin your appointments with all 3 of those sales reps. And that's going to show the related time availability for the person next in the round robin sequence. Now, when somebody goes on to book an appointment, we have our appointment confirmation workflow. This workflow ultimately is designed to do 2 things. 1, make sure the person actually shows up to the appointment. 2, it helps us close the gap on the actual time they close by sharing valuable information that's going to get them to move the needle on actually wanting to work with us. Again, after they booked an appointment, that essentially identifies that they are product aware, meaning that they know enough about your product that they are willing to meet with you on it to then work with you. They may not be fully product aware, but in your workflows here, you can start moving them towards most aware. A prospect will not buy from you until they are most aware. Most aware is essentially the finer details on like what's the agreement, you're making an offer and a proposal to them. So using our appointment confirmation workflow, we are moving that prospect closer to cash collected so we can shorten that timeline to close. We also have a follow-up process in which our sales team is reaching out to prospects and they're sharing information before the call to help them actually get there, which leads us into the thank you page. On the thank you page, we do something that most people do not. We call this our indoctrination process. The indoctrination process is a long form piece of information that is going to make sure anyone that is not qualified to work with us goes forward and cancels the appointment themselves. We can actually show this in our data that 32% of our appointments actually cancel the appointment themselves. This removes the potential that somebody, 1, is going to no-show us, but 2, that we're going to waste our time with people who are not going to end up buying from us. Our funnel is designed to maximize our closers' time to actually collect as much revenue for our company as possible. In this video, the indoctrination video, I'm going over what does a client acquisition system actually take in order to develop and run effectively. 2, what does it look like to solve this problem? How can you solve this problem? What are my options? Okay. Then lastly, based on those options, where does Conversionly fit in? And that gives them a full breakdown of what it actually takes to set the expectation properly so they actually understand how much work goes into building a client acquisition system. 2, how they can go and solve that problem. What are their other solutions available to them? And then 3, how do we measure up in comparison to our competitors? This video alone has substantially increased our close rates because our sales team was not wasting time with prospects who were never going to buy from us. Again, we then give them access to free content to, again, shorten the gap and regurgitating our testimonials yet again. All right, so that is a full review of our $16 million VSL funnel. Now, you may be wondering yourself, hey, Zach, I only have $10,000, $20,000 a month in revenue that I'm making. Can I afford to run a funnel like this? Absolutely. What I'm going to cover in the next section is how to actually build this out and scale up a VSL funnel, meet you where you're at, and how to optimize in what order so you can maximize your cost per acquisition. Now, one of the big things with every client that we work with, most of them are not running a sales team. Okay. So from the essence of running that big sales funnel, it's not really worth your time or the prospect's time to cut out that many opportunities. The big thing that all of our clients need to achieve is get on the phone with as many people as possible, refine their pitch, refine their offer. That way they can then scale it up. So to do that, you are first running traffic from Facebook. You have Instagram. You could have YouTube, TikTok, etc. Right? All of this is going to then drive traffic to an opt-in page. Now, if you don't have the ability to run an appointment setter, I would recommend that instead of an opt-in page, you drive them to a DM campaign. And this is going to predominantly use a platform like Instagram to establish that message. When you run the DM campaign, this is going to give you the ability to communicate with that prospect. You can automate the follow-up so you can collect name, email, and phone number, but also you can run a setter on the back end as you scale up and can afford to hire one to be able to follow up with that prospect for you, to then follow the sequence as noted earlier: engage, qualify, then convert. Okay. Now from the DM, you are going to drive traffic to the traditional VSL page. Okay. On that VSL, your main objective of what you're communicating in that video is who you are, why they should listen to you, what it is that you do that's better than everybody else, and baking in results, performance, things that support the claims that you're stating in that video to then get the call to action of go on to book a call. Okay. On there, you also want to showcase your testimonial videos. As I noted previously, testimonial videos are going to help you close the gap because it's going to establish trust with the market. That way, they're willing to buy from you. When it comes down to a sale, when you are making an offer with a prospect, they're really only going to say no to 3 things. They don't trust you, they don't trust themselves, or they don't physically have the financial funds to be able to do this now. So one of the ways that you can leverage your VSL is increase their trust in you. You do that by showing proof of success with other people. Zach, I don't have case studies. I don't have proof. How do I do this? Well, one recommendation is to go and establish a handful of clients. Run your offer that you're running from Facebook here and make it a beta program where you have a free trial, a low price, whatever it is, something to get you 3 to 5 people where you work virtually for free in exchange for case study and testimonial video. This will set the baseline that you're going to need for cold traffic to convince them to work with you. Why? Because it's 2024 at the time of this recording, and people do not trust people. Social media content, everything is out there in such high volume that people naturally have a BS detector that's maxed out all the time. So in order to increase that rapport and the trust with the prospect, you need to make sure that you have case studies, results, data, performance, etc. before somebody's going to pull the trigger to work with you. So once you do acquire that, then you want to showcase that within your funnel. You can do that in the form of multiple testimonial videos or replicate what we did and actually convert it into a case study. Now, the elements of a case study that are going to maximize the conversion rate, and we've tested different formats, is ultimately identifying who the prospect is. So put a little picture of them that helps them identify, or if it's a business, a logo, something that you can use to showcase that person. You have a big hook that states what it is that they got, what was the outcome they achieved. Then you go through the problem they were faced with. This problem should be positioned in a way that it correlates to who your ICP is in the problems they're experiencing. Now, what I mean by ICP is your ideal candidate profile, your ideal customer profile, okay? This is the problem, the primary problem, the root problem that that market is experiencing. Then you get into the process. The process is ultimately going to identify how did you get them the results? What did you do? What was the mechanism? What was the journey they went through to actually get those results? And then you actually showcase the results. What did they get? What timeline? How long did it take to get there, etc. And then lastly, incorporate the video. The video is going to be the final thing that they need for the authority. The best way that we found videos to do is actually get on a Zoom call. A lot of people started questioning the authenticity of videos, testimonial videos, because people are going out and hiring UGC actors to create false testimonials. So to combat that, get on an actual Zoom call with your client and have both screens recorded. So it is very much real and authentic. From there, your case studies are going to help sell for you. Next is to maximize your quality. Now, you don't want to run an application initially like we do. Okay, if we think about your calendar, you want to mitigate the amount of friction that you have within your funnel and maximize the throughput. This helps you optimize things like your hooks. This helps you optimize your copy. And this ultimately helps you optimize your offer and sales process by meeting with as many people as possible. If you can close harder people, less qualified people, then when you start getting really qualified prospects, your close rate should only improve, not decrease. So from this aspect, you're driving traffic to your calendar. But within your calendar, you can start incorporating your application questions there. Now, this means the prospect's still going to be able to book the appointment with you. However, you can run back-end processes and automations to remove that appointment from your calendar if they don't meet the qualification criteria. One of the ways that we do that is we've developed our own internal systems with Albert AI. This is our own ChatGPT AI prompts and systems that we use to automate a lot of the processes within our business. It's helped us get rid of people like sales coordinators, etc., by being able to do functions like cancel appointments that aren't qualified and automatically update our team, our Slack channel, etc. from that. The way that this works is you're essentially sending in your qualification criteria to ChatGPT, utilizing a lead qualification matrix, which if you don't know what a lead qualification matrix is, I'll include that with a link up here. And that will give you the ability to learn about lead qualification, lead quality matrix, etc., on how you can actually implement GPT to remove unqualified people. Once you do have that implemented, then you can have GPT rate and rank a score for that prospect when they book an appointment. If that score threshold is below a specific number, let's just use 1 to 3, right? If that score is below a 3, cancel the appointment. If it's between a 3 and a 5, keep the appointment. That will help you mitigate your time meeting with prospects who are not qualified. Then lastly, you want to send them to your thank you page. Now on the thank you page, you want to cover exactly what I was talking about earlier with an indoctrination video. That indoctrination video is ultimately helping you close the gap on the sales timeline. That way, your ability to close them when you meet with them increases the likelihood of a one-call close or a quick follow-up within a couple days to actually collect cash on the back end. So you have the general strategy and framework that you should follow. Let's reiterate and summarize here. You're taking traffic off of Facebook or Instagram, running them to a DM campaign to collect their information, sending them to your VSL page to then farther qualify, then driving them to your calendar, and then your thank you page. When do you actually implement the opt-in page? Once you have a sales rep or two on your team and or definitely have an appointment setter to follow up with your prospects. One of the big values of having an opt-in page is being able to follow up with prospects on the back end. The difference is with Conversionly, on average, we're typically booking 53 sales calls a day. Out of those 53 sales calls, about anywhere between 56 and 63% of them, our prospects book themselves. The remainder of our appointments, which this comes out to 44% to 37%, should have flipped those, is coming from our setters following up, engage, qualifying, and converting those appointments. We also have a higher close rate on setter booked appointments. This is because rapport is established, trust is increased, and it increases the likelihood that a prospect is going to move forward with you. So that is when you have the ability to incorporate a setter. Typically, you're going to be paying about $1,800 to $2,200 a month for a good setter. When you can afford to do that is when I would recommend incorporating an opt-in page. So now that you have a $16 million case study of what a good VSL funnel actually looks like, and I broke down the strategy on how you should implement this if you are only doing $10,000, $20,000 a month and can afford to put $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month into advertising, then where do you actually build out the funnel? There are many platforms that exist for you to build funnels. One of them is ClickFunnels. However, there are other platforms. Kartra, you can build them on Spotify, you can build them on WordPress if you want. What we use is Conversionly CRM. Conversionly CRM is a customized adaptation of Go High Level. This is everything built with our system ingrained into it. Every client that gets a Conversionly CRM account, it comes with the lead to close system. It also comes with our funnel templates. Now, one of our funnel templates is, as you can see here, this is one of our VSL funnel templates that's already pre-designed, ready to go. All you need to do is plug in the information. When you work with Conversionly, we do that for you. However, I want to give you a quick rundown of how to actually build this funnel out. So when you go in to the funnel editor, you'll click edit, and just like any other page builder that exists in the market, you have elements. Elements give you the ability to add text to the screen. It gives you the ability to add videos, buttons, information. You can also add additional rows and sections into the page to display information the way you want to. For instance, this is the hero section of our videos, and we have our background set here. However, if that background did not exist, then it would be white. We do have a background. That gives us the ability to transition colors. We set that at the section level. The next thing that we want to break down is making sure that we are communicating everything we need to the prospect. So in our benefits section, we can include the different benefits that we have. We can explain this is the way that society tells you to do it. This is how you should be doing it. Old way versus new way. Also, how it works, breaking down how does our system actually work. This is one of the many elements that we ask clients and incorporate that shows how do we take them from problem to solution and the mechanism or the process that they're going to go through to be able to do that. All of this is very easy to build out. With our funnels, you can install tracking codes. You have the ability to do custom CSS, which is a lot of the designing, and we make it easy. So all you have to do is change out the color gradients, change out a couple color schemes, and everything will be updated for you. The last beautiful part of this funnel is the ability to have a builder that already has pre-designed sections, templates, and everything you need to get a funnel designed exactly how you want it to, ready to go. Once you have the funnel actually built, then you need the ability to build out your automations. The automations are going to be when a lead opts in, what do we want to do? When a lead books an appointment, what do we want to do? As you can see here, this is one of the many automations that we run whenever a lead books an appointment, making sure that we're adding them to the pipeline, we're getting them set up inside the backend, so whenever they do opt in, we can have our engagement sequence flow work and follow up with that prospect to actually get the information sent out the way that we need to. Now, if you guys would like me to create a video that actually breaks down how to build a VSL funnel from scratch and one of our templates, drop a comment down below. Let me know what industry you're in, and I'd be more than happy to build a funnel for you guys live and show you that exact process. Once you have your funnel set up, what benchmarks and conversion rates should you actually be experiencing throughout the funnel? Let's go ahead and take a look. For opt-in rates, you should be getting about 15 to 30% opt-in rates. Now, the reason you have a pretty big gap here is this depends on the market sophistication level. If you're marketing or advertising a service, product, program, etc., where the market is a stage 3 or stage 4 sophistication level, then your opt-in rate should be between 15 and 25%. If you are targeting a market that is a stage 2 market sophistication level, then you can achieve 30%, even 40% opt-in rates. As the market becomes more aware of what it is that you're doing and their sophistication increases, they're ultimately going to be less inclined or less intrigued because they've heard it all before. Therefore, achieving a 15 to 25% opt-in rate will make sure that you are getting good performance from your funnel. If your opt-in rate is less than 15%, then you need to do one of two things. Ultimately, you need to test and optimize your opt-in page. That is going to be the biggest influence of your opt-in rates, making sure your hook is something that is engaging and something that they want to achieve. And number 2 is making sure that you have message market match. You have congruency between the message that you're communicating to your target audience and it is for the right audience. Furthermore, you want to make sure that when they click on the ad and they go to the opt-in page, that there is a tandem or a parallel between ad and opt-in page. If the message that you're using is not congruent with one another, then your opt-in rates are going to decrease or not actually perform at all. From there, once you have people opting in, you should achieve at minimum a 50% application rate. This means everybody that opts in, 50% of them go on to apply. Now, if you do not have at minimum a 50% application rate, then that means your VSL page is not doing its job. It's not taking the market to a product awareness level and an understanding that convinces them on why they should invest their time into booking an appointment. Here, you want to look at the content you're sharing on your VSL page. If you don't have case studies, get them. If you don't have testimonials, get them. If your copywriting is not good, make it better. If your video is too long or too short and it's not compelling enough, look at the data and make optimizations. On your VSL video, make sure you're leveraging a platform like Vimeo, Wistia, or even YouTube, which is free. Host your video there. That way you can see the actual watch time. If your watch time drops off substantially within 20% of watching the video, then that means the market is not interested in what you're saying. You may need to restructure your VSL script to maximize the conversion rate. If you want to learn more about actually running a VSL or writing a VSL script and recording it, go ahead and watch this video up here. Next, once you have a 50% application rate, you should be getting a 30% booking rate. Now, this 30% booking rate is going to be of all leads that opt in, not just applications, okay? If you're looking at qualified applications, what percentage of those people go on to book? You should have at minimum a 90% qualified app to booked appointment rate. That's because they've already jumped through all the hoops of filling out the application. They should naturally go on to book an appointment. Okay. However, the big number here that we want to see is 30% of every lead that opts in goes on to book an appointment. If you're not achieving this, then you're either generating the wrong traffic or you're not running the right systems to maximize your conversion rate. This is where we see clients lose the most amount of money and is a substantial impact on their cost per acquisition. Moving on from there, for your show rates, on average, you should be seeing a 65 to 80% show rate. Now, a 65% is going to be if you're running a direct calendar where your application questions are in your calendar And 80% or closer to 80% is going to be when you have an actual application before the calendar. That's because everybody who is qualified should be the only people on your calendar. And furthermore, you have so much friction that they're not going to waste their time filling out an application if they're not actually qualified. Okay. The 20% difference here in where you can get a 20 to 30% no-show rate is going to be those people that did watch that indoctrination video and they naturally disqualified themselves from there. Like, hey, this is not, I don't have the time for this, or I'm not looking for this, or I'm not interested anymore. Whatever it is, they naturally just either no-show or cancel the appointment. Okay. From your show rates, you should have at minimum a 20% call close rate. This means everybody who shows up to the call is closing. This is because your VSL is optimized in performing to maximize the quality of people that are getting on the calendar. Now, if you're not achieving 20% close rates, this is where you need repetition. And that's why in the strategy, I broke down you want to reduce the amount of friction and meet with as many people as possible. Because as you're going through a script, you're following a scripted process, you're actually trying to take them from where they're at and actually get them to convert on the back end. You may need training on handling objections. You may need training on how do I actually do discovery and leverage that within my pitch. Am I making an offer to everybody I meet? These are things that you want to look at to make sure that you are maximizing your sales calls. One of the big things that we do with every call that we meet is we break them down into 3 categories for those that don't close. We break them down into show no pitch. That means they showed up, but they had to reschedule the appointment. We have pitch, which means we finished discovery. We asked them if we can tell them about our solution. They agreed, and we told them about our solution. Then when we did a temperature check to see if they were ready to make an offer to, they still had objections. And we weren't able to handle those objections or get them over those objections before making an offer. We scheduled a follow-up call. And lastly, you have offer, okay? This is where most people don't know how to structure their sales call. When you are meeting with prospects, you should be doing discovery, then pitching them, then making an offer to them. You should not make an offer to everybody. By breaking these out and tracking these metrics, it can be a final layer of quality checks for you to understand, hey, my pitch rate is less than 60%, then I have a quality issue on the audience that I'm targeting or even the offer in general. This is a measurement that you can use to inform marketing personnel to make adjustments to the funnel, the messaging, the ads, the targeting, etc., to optimize the overall flow through your funnel. From there, you'll track close. Then when it comes to close, we're tracking things on 3 levels. The call close, so for everybody who shows up to the call, what's the percentage that we close them? That you want to have on average 20%. Then you have pitch close and offer close. Those are ultimately going to depend on how long that sales rep's been with you, etc. But we break those down so we can track, is our sales rep actually pitching people? If they're not pitching people and they're using that as an excuse of quality, but the rest of the team has this average pitch rate and this guy's substantially less, then that means he is not pitching people and he's looking for layup sales, not actually to be a sales rep. Also, offer rate. If we're not making offers, why are they not handling those objections in their pitch? That will help you identify, is the pitch actually handling the objections? Are they delivering it well? So this will help you spot where you need to review calls and optimize that process on the back end. All right, that is an end-to-end review of our $16 million VSL funnel, the VSL strategy that we follow, and how you can scale a VSL funnel with your business. We also dove into benchmarks, making sure you get a 15 to 30% opt-in rate, 30% booking rate, 50% application rate, and a 65 to 80% show rate with a 20% call close rate. In this video, I highly recommend you watch this multiple times as we uncovered a lot of information here. However, if that's something that you want to have Conversionly do for you, feel free to click the link down below and someone on our team will be happy to assist you.